With week 9 fantasy football fast approaching us, we've got lots of bye weeks this week, and that affects every position, including the kickers. So I do it every single week. Right now, I'm going through week 9 fantasy football kickers, the top 12 of the week. And I am filming this video at 2 a.m. on Thursday morning, guys. So please go down there, drop a like on this video, and subscribe to the channel to show your support and to join the Football Fanalysts Network community, guys. I really appreciate y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and just dive right into these rankings right now. So Jake Elliott remains at the top. The dude has been an absolute animal being in fantasy football this year. Jake Elliott is still averaging 11 fantasy points per game. Like, that's just crazy for him to keep up that level of consistency. The good thing is he kicks both extra points and field goals, as you can see on the screen. Philadelphia's offense is always going to be good enough to get you down there, but they're not as efficient as they were last year. So there is a lot more field goal opportunities that do come up for Jake Elliott. And of course, this matchup is perfect for him. Number one, it's the divisional matchup. And every week on this channel, I say that divisional games, kickers in divisional games get a bump up in the rankings because those are typically tougher, hard-fought games that aren't as efficient red zone-wise. And so you see a lot of kickers getting field goal opportunities in those games. Number two, the defense is really tough. So they're taking on Dallas's defense. They're probably not going to be able to capitalize on it. And I've got a secret here. Dallas has won 4 out of the last 5 matchups versus Philadelphia. So I do think that Jake Elliott's going to have plenty of opportunities to kick away in this game. I got Jake Elliott at number 1. And number 2 here, I've got Harrison Butker in that matchup versus Miami overseas. It is an overseas game, guys. On Sunday morning, it will be started at 8:30 a.m. Central. So make sure to have your lineup set before that game starts. So in this matchup, Harrison Butker is in a similar situation to Buffalo, or to Philadelphia, actually, because their offense has not been quite as efficient. When you look back to last year, the way it was, he's got basically the same deal as Jake Elliott. Just as many field goal opportunities, basically, as he has extra point opportunities. Now, of course, that's great for a fantasy kicker. You want to have an offense that is going to get you down there, but not always capitalize and not be super efficient with their trips to the red zone. So Harrison Butker obviously has the leg. He's kicked a 60-yard long field goal. And Miami is a great matchup because I do believe that Miami's defense is not good enough to just completely shut down Kansas City's offense. So I think that Harrison Butker is going to have plenty of field goal opportunities. Number 3, Brandon Aubrey, the Dallas Cowboys, in that Philadelphia matchup here this week. So Brandon Aubrey this week against the Eagles is just, again, he's been a great fantasy kicker. Regardless of the situation, he's averaging over 11 fantasy points per game. It's the same story as Jake Elliott, actually. You can see that field goals, extra points, basically the same thing. There's weeks where Dallas crushes opponents, and Brandon Aubrey doesn't have a chance to kick too many field goals, right? This isn't going to be that week. I think there's going to be a very competitive matchup here versus Philadelphia's defense, and I do think that Brandon Aubrey, I mean, look at his numbers. He's been basically perfect this year, except one mixed extra point. But Brandon Aubrey's kicked a 58-yard long field goal. He's already becoming one of the top kickers in the league. So if he gets in range, if they get him an opportunity, he's going to capitalize on it because he's done it all year so far. Number 4, Tyler Bass of the Buffalo Bills taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. The matchup is fantastic. Obviously, there should be lots of points to be thrown around. But here's a tip. In my defense ranking video this week, I had Cincinnati's defense inside of the top 12 versus Buffalo. Why did I have them there? Because Cincinnati has a ball hawking secondary, and they're near the top as far as interceptions forced. Well, Josh Allen is also near the top in interceptions thrown. So the matchup could be there. Why does it matter for the kicker? It matters because if this offense stalls out in the red zone or in range at the 40-yard line, at the 30-yard line, it's going to give Tyler Bass opportunities. And Tyler Bass, he's had a down couple of weeks here because Buffalo's offense has really been actually pretty inconsistent. They're kicking more extra points than field goals, as you can see, and he's actually missed a couple of the weeks. I think this is a good get-right game for Tyler Bass against Cincinnati this week. Number 5, Nick Folk taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight in Pittsburgh. So Nick Folk, really when you look at it, has been really good in fantasy football. Nick Folk is kicking more field goals than he is extra points, which gives him about 10 fantasy points per game because he hasn't missed a single kick all year. Nick Folk is the godfather of the NFL. He's the grandfather of the NFL. So this guy is just like, it's so crazy to actually watch him be as efficient as he always has been with New England. So with Tennessee, it's really no different. Nick Folk is kicking every single field goal right down the middle. And he's just been great. And against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that probably won't let them have that many touchdowns tonight, I think Nick Folk's going to be in a lot of field goal opportunities. Blake Group of the New Orleans Saints at number 6, taking on the Chicago Bears in New Orleans. New Orleans is really the perfect offense for a kicker. They're an offense that's very talented. They've got Alvin Kamara. They've got Chris Olave. They've got Michael Thomas. They've got Rashid Shaheed. They've got guys. Taysom Hill. They don't always get you in there, though. They're not an efficient offense, and that's why he's kicked 21 field goals as opposed to 16 extra point attempts. Problem is he's missed 4 field goals here, so he's by no means perfect. He's got a 54-yard long field goal, and he's missed some longer attempts this year, actually. So the fact that he has just under 10 fantasy points per game is positive, but I would like to see him capitalize more. And this week against the Bears, I actually do think the reason he's this low is because I think they're going to be able to capitalize on more red zone trips against the Bears this week than they typically do. So I'm pretty comfortable putting Blake Group here at number 6. Dustin Hopkins of the Cleveland Browns at number 7 versus the Arizona Cardinals. So obviously you can see it on the screen. Dustin Hopkins has been tremendous in fantasy football. It's been a great year for Dustin Hopkins. Specifically over the past 2 weeks, he's been absolutely outrageous. So why is he down here at number 7? The reason I say he's down here at number 7 is because it's a similar story to Blake Group, actually, of the Saints, where I actually think that Cleveland's offense is going to be able to have their way a little bit more with the Arizona Cardinals. And it's because Arizona's a great matchup here, but also I do leave some room for the fact that Cleveland's offense is not efficient at all. They'll get you down there because they've got talent, they've got the coaching to get you down there, but they're not always going to punch it in, which is exactly why you've seen Dustin Hopkins kick 2 times as many field goal attempts as he has extra point attempts this year. Keeps up this week, but I think maybe they get a little bit more in the end zone, and he only has the opportunity to kick a little extra points. Matt Gay at number 8 of the Indianapolis Colts, taking on the Carolina Panthers in Carolina this week. Matt Gay is honestly a very steady kicker option. If you don't have one of the top guys that I've mentioned, or a guy like Brandon McManus on a bye week, right? There's not many better, more stable kickers right now than Matt Gay. And here's the thing, Matt Gay is just in a perfect situation where he's on an offense that is extremely efficient at getting you in range. With the Indianapolis Colts, he's got such a great setup because the coaching is great. Shane Steichen, head coach over there, fantastic offensive mind. And he's getting extra point attempts, and it really happens. The good thing about it is it happens more often than basically most of those other guys you've seen on the screen right now. He's kicking the equivalent of extra points as Jake Elliott on the Philadelphia Eagles. This offense is super efficient, and he's also got field goal opportunities as well. So Matt Gay, honestly, just a very steady option. This week for Matt Gay versus the Panthers, it's also a really good matchup because Carolina's defense actually a little bit tougher than you may think. So I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities here. Justin Tucker at number 9, taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Justin Tucker's had some good weeks. He's had some bad weeks as well. But for the most part, he's coming back. He's found himself inside the top 12 of kickers on the year, and he's averaging 8.3 fantasy points per game. Now, that's not great because he started out really, really slow. He was in the bottom 5 for a couple of weeks there in fantasy kicker range. So it's good to see him coming back here, and that's really because the Ravens offense has become super efficient, and he's just not getting as many field goal opportunities. 16 opportunities for field goals compared to 22 for extra points, and he's missed 4 total kicks this year. That's outrageous for Justin Tucker. That is so out of the norm, so it's uncomfortable to see that kind of week. But against the Seattle Seahawks, they've got a great defense too. Now, I've said it earlier this week, I think that Baltimore's actually going to win this game handily, but in the off chance, in the case that Seattle does stop Baltimore's offense a couple of times in the red zone, Justin Tucker's going to have some field goal opportunities in this game. Ka'imi Fairbairn at number 10 of the Houston Texans, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really, Ka'imi Fairbairn has been a really good fantasy kicker as well. He's got a good offense for it. 18 field goal attempts compared to 13 extra point attempts. That's because Houston's offense is run well by CJ Stroud. They've got weapons, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Dalton Schultz at tight end, but they're not going to be efficient in getting the ball in the end zone. That's why he's averaging 9.4 fantasy points per game. So when you're taking on a tougher defense like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I do think that this is a matchup that he'll be able to take advantage of. And because I think that Houston will get down there, I think they're going to be mad coming into this game because they just got embarrassed by the Carolina Panthers. I think this is a good opportunity for Ka'imi Fairbairn to have a good rebound week. Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. It's a very similar situation to Justin Tucker, although the other reality is that my worry with this matchup is that it turns into a similar game to Baltimore versus Detroit, where they just crush this NFC team coming into their house. Lamar Jackson is 16-1 versus NFC teams. So yeah, not exactly positive. The good thing is, Jason Myers, similar to Justin Tucker, the opposite of Justin Tucker, is that he's getting more field goal attempts than he is extra point attempts, as you can see on the screen. Again, he's missed kicks as well. So not exactly a positive thing here. But if they can at least get him down there into range versus the Baltimore Ravens, we should be in line for a top 12 fantasy week from Jason Myers. Younghoe Koo of the Atlanta Falcons rounding it out versus the Minnesota Vikings here. Younghoe Koo had a good week last week because Atlanta's offense can't get it in the end zone. Unless it's Bijan Robinson taking in a big play, they're so inept of getting in the end zone. It's actually embarrassing. They made a quarterback change this week with Taylor Heineke, and you can see it on the screen. Younghoe Koo he's missed 2 kicks, but he's had way more field goal opportunities than he has extra point opportunities. So there's a real issue here with the offense and the efficiency of which they get in the end zone, but it doesn't matter for a fantasy football kicker. Younghoe Koo is going to be able to make kicks this week against the Minnesota Vikings because they'll get him down there because they've got the talent to do it. They've got the talent to get you down there, but they totally sputter and just absolutely piss away their opportunity to get it in there. And that's where Younghoe Koo comes in. So let me know what you think of the kicker rankings in the comments below and what questions you need answered for Week 9 Fantasy Football. And if you want to see the top 12 defense rankings for Week 9 Fantasy Football, click on this video right here.